Hey everyone, up on the bench today is a new acquisition of mine. By new I mean it literally just came in last night via post office. This is a CED player. This is the Hitachi was it? VIP 2000? Yeah, I had to recheck. This is the Hitachi VIP 2000 stereo video disc player. Uh, I've been wanting one of the stereo Hitachis for quite some time now, and this one, was up for a few weeks on eBay, and I just couldn't take it anymore. So I just went ahead and bought it, and hope I can restore it. So first thing I know that I will need to do is I will need to clean the belts in here. I asked the seller to put in a piece of cardboard in the disc slot there, because that way it's going to protect the inside tray from any plastic pieces snapping off. And when I pulled the piece of cardboard out, there was some belt glue on there, and it's some right there too. So I will have to go ahead and clean all that before I even put in a disc. So I'm not going to waste any more time. Let's just get this thing open. First and foremost, there's the door for the stylus is right here. This is how you access it, how the consumer would access it. So this came with the stylus. I tried it last night in my Sears player, and it works. So I technically got my money's worth already, but I want the whole kit and caboodle. I want this thing to be fully operational. So I'm going to take the stylus out since I'll be working on this thing. So getting one of these open, there's 2 screws here, and there's going to be 2 screws on the back. They're Phillips heads, so nothing out of the ordinary. If you can't hear behind me, there is snow falling down, or more precisely, it's more like hail. I have a carload full of just machines, and what is it? Because recently, I will say this, I got 5 U-matic players, the front loader kind. I got 5 of those. I got a, let's see, 2 VHD players that I recently imported from Japan. 2 CED players, one of them a very special one. Let's see, it's a Bell and Howell portable TV VCR combo that I got with the U-matic haul. So my car is just stock full of just goodies. Alright, with those off, this should just lift up. It can be a little tight on the, I feel, on these Hitachi chassis. Okay. Ah, there we are. Okay, I see where that belt ended up. So here's the inside of one of these guys. Ooh. I see a little bit of crud on the circuit board there. Any other notable damage? I have not plugged this in because there's kind of no point. No, that's the only kind of damage I see. Oh, there's a capacitor that leaked. Oh, shoot. I've not seen that happen. Interesting. So there's 3 screws that hold this circuit top board in place. There's one here, and then on these Hitachis that have the wired remote. When I lift this board up, you have to clear the remote receiver along with this. So now this just will flip up. It pops up just like that. All right. Now I want to see, where's that one capacitor? That's really interesting. I've never seen a capacitor leak on a CED player before. Well, there's a first for everything, I suppose. All right. So, I still got juice in this thing. It's been like, this is my first time in here since the start of the year. Well, technically since last year. Yeah. I see what happens. Okay. Trying to see where the heck the rest of the belt went. Because some of it definitely went there, on top of the door. I don't see where the rest of it went. Well, as I poke around in this thing, I'll find it eventually. What is that? 47 microfarad. Oh, it's a 47. Okay. Anything else that leaked? Once I get the belt situation fixed, I'll deal with that. That's in the DMOD circuit. It's in the comb filter. It's a comb filter. Okay. So yeah, I'll fix that real quick because I definitely have 47 microfarad, 16 volts. That I have a good assortment of those for the time being. So let's see, turntable is clean. There's just initial inspection on my part. But yeah, this is the first belt that we got to change up. I think I will get my gloves now. Well, first and foremost, let's ready our isopropyl alcohol. I suspect we'll be needing a bunch of this for today. Call it a hunch. Now, do I have my dental pick here. I'll be using that to scrape the gunk off for sure. This is the last pair of gloves that I have in here, so next to my head and side I will have to restock my little Rite Aid box. I said this in the Quasar video about an hour in, but I still have all the gloves in there I've used up, but I still have the box of Rite Aid gloves, Rite Aid brand gloves that I bought many years back. By many years, I mean like at most 3 years, but yeah. So, yeah, now I use that as a box for my spare gloves to keep the Rite Aid name alive and well, even though they close up shop. I think the first Friday last October was the last day any of them were open. Alright, I got my gloves on. So, there's remnants of this old belt on the pulleys here. So I'm just gonna scrape that off with my dental pick here. It's gonna be way more effective than trying to go at it with a cotton swab, because then I'm just gonna spread it all over. Speaking of spreading all over, I'm gonna need a little hit of a paper towel. Come on. What the heck is it? There we are. That'll do for now. I keep the paper towels in here so that anytime I have unwanted guests in the shed, i.e. mice. They won't eat up my good stash of paper towels. How's that for clever thinking, huh? Alright. I think I did get all that one pulley had. So let me go into this guy here. This guy. This black pulley, which actually drives the tray up and down. Oof. Yeah. These aren't fun. These are not fun to clean up. I tell you what. That's why I started wearing gloves when I So recently I did that. By recent I mean like a month ago, during the Christmas. I did this on the Sears. I don't know the model number because they did that BS where the model number is like a bunch of decimal points. But on the stereo Sears with the time counter, one of them was not too far from my from where I live and work, and it was only for $100, and the kicker was it came with the remote. So I'm like, this kind of feels too good to pass up. So I messaged the guy on eBay asking like if he would be willing to like do a local pickup, since I just am literally like a stone throw away from his location. He said sure thing. So he even he delivered at Sears like right to my office. So that was pretty cool. So I managed to clean up that. Where's my cotton swab? I managed to clean up that Sears in my apartment. And it went well. I couldn't get the belt that drives the arm, which we'll deal with later. I couldn't get that super clean without making a whole mess of my floor, which I refuse to do, obviously. I'm not going to shit where I eat, to put it bluntly. So, but yeah, otherwise, that player's been an absolute dream. So I understand. A lot of people say that's like they consider the best CED player, and I can understand why. You know, there's no. I mean, obviously, your 400 and the 250 is great, but there's just something a little more magical dealing with that Sears. You know, the loading and unloading is very smooth. You know, the caddy just goes in like butter. And, you know, picture's great. So, yeah, I totally understand the hype with these Hitachi units. Now, if you're in the PAL region, this is going to look quite different than what you're used to, because PAL land only got the late-stage Hitachi units where they really, just really, you know, did the bare minimum of it's the late stage where it's only like 13 pounds and it's really reduced to like the absolute bare minimum. Like the loading and unloading is nowhere near as sophisticated as it is on these early Hitachi chassis. And I do think that's really going to be the best I can get this. Okay. Yeah, and then I'll just dry it off. Yeah, see why you want to wear gloves doing this shit. Sorry for the profanity, everyone. I know you didn't click this video to hear that kind of language. But, you know, I'm obviously a little excited about this. Getting to work on this. So I'm just drying this off. Okay. I think before I, let me deal with the arm now. So this black pulley here is actually what drives the disc tray up and down. So when you insert a disc, this is how it's gonna go down. Okay, it's good. Tray loading is good. The black plastic piece that rides on this white piece here. I don't have any better terms for these. I'm sorry. That one can snap off, especially during shipping. Like I have a realistic player that I got some years back that had this break off, and I still need to replace that. Especially since would be interested in selling that one off, since I have a good assortment of stereo players now. I don't really need mono equipment. This is just in frame, but here's your stylus arm here. Again, this one has a black pulley that actually drives the arm, forward and backwards, all that jazz. So let me see which way. And yeah, what stinks is the belt's already on there. And it's gonna. I'm trying to remember which way you turn it to get it to go. Okay, so you want to push this pulley here kind of away from you, so like, kind of go that motion. I could not remember. And you don't have a good clearance because the arm is literally right there. So and yeah, you have to have the disc tray down in order for the stylus arm to clear. But now the pulley is exposed, so now I have much more room to work with. And I hope too much did not get on underneath the arm, because that would kind of stink. That would stink royally. Yeah, now you can start to see the works. Ooh, excuse me. Yeah, I really want a lot of clearance when dealing with this. Alright, that will suffice. Yeah. Got a head start on that one, didn't we? Ooh. Trying to adjust my sweatshirt, I hit the roof of the shed. Oy, oy, oy. So get the belt off here. Yeah, again, there's a whole lot of dirty work you gotta do. Before you can even really plug this in. Because 10 times out of 10, these will need the belts changed. And if you come across one where the belt did not need to get changed, then, well, you have quite an exception to the rule there. Maybe it did get serviced like sometime between the 80s and now, whether it be from a fellow collector or what. Because every time, basically 49 times out of 50, people need to change the belts on these before they're ready to go. Okay, now back to a Q-tip to dry this all off. Well, to actually clean the rest of it off, then we'll dry it off once we're satisfied. So we really don't want belt goo on here because that would impede the grip on the new belt. Okay. Yeah, I don't want to hit the stylus sweeper pad too. I don't want to get belt goo on there, so I'm gonna try and avoid that as well. Belt on a stylus does not sound like a good mix. That's just me, though. Yeah, when I was transporting this thing, because it was like the last thing to go in my car, because I just came in last night and my car was basically packed the night before, so I didn't put it in until this morning, on top of like one of the VHD players in the trunk. And of course, driving on the confounded Pennsylvania roads where they don't give a damn about potholes and all that, they just let those things, you know, stay there forever. Eventually, it came loose, and it kind of like, capsized a bit on top of two other players. And I'm like, all right, well, so be it. It did not occur to me that it would cause dings in those players. So now I have one VHD player where there's obvious signs of like, of friction on the front plate, and the very special CED player has just like two minor scrapes in the back. So I'm kind of pissed that I let that happen, but it is what it is. It's just no point crying over spilled milk. It just it could have been worse. Not always the most ideal thing to say, but at the end of the day, that was kind of takeaway. Could be worse. So drying these off, I think that's about as good as we're gonna get. So before I forget, how do I want to take? I think I should take the gloves off now, just because they're coated in the confounded belt goo, and the effective areas are going to touch like the caddy, so I don't want to spread that more than anymore. So I'm going to lower this back down for a bit, because there's that one piece of belt that came off. There we are. Little thing just came off, and then I'll rub it with I'll just reuse this same isopropyl. Okay. Now I'll get the case. Oh, gee, I just turned around and saw that, yeah, it's still snowing. It's piled up. Well, I made sure to put my boots on so that I'm not slipping and sliding. So belt goo was, be careful where I put this. Belt goo was like right there. Oh man, excuse me. Okay, now I'll get it wet with some alcohol. Dry off the remains. Yeah, gee. I do not want any caddies touching that shit. Especially if I get a hankering one day to watch like I don't know, like one of the World War II Walter Cronkite discs or anything else special on this thing. Because that would suck royally if those caddies got, dirt on them. right, I think it's as clean as it'll get. I think I just see like one little, one thing of like Velcro that's hidden there. So I'll quickly deal with it. Okay, guys. Well, you're not going to believe it. Yours truly forgot to hit the record button during the last bit. So I'm just going to quickly recap because, I mean, what I did was just install the new belts. So basically, get the light back on. So procedure for that is like I use just a generic 1mm belt kit off Amazon, and I just kind of use the best fit. So I have two on here now that seem to be good. Now, without having to put a disc in, where the position I had this player in before, where the tray is lower down, the arm was in here, what I do is you hit this little switch there, goddamn, you press that switch here where my finger is, because how these work is you insert the disc, that switch is activated by insertion of the caddy, rather the spline presses up against this, that turns the player on, and yeah, there's the plug there, so keep your fingers away from there. So turn that, so apply this with everything down. It might start spinning up as it did here, thinking that there's a disc in here, but there's not. So you hit the reject button up here, and that will take care of that for you. It'll reject if the belts are a good fit, the arm will move back, and then this will move up. And fortunately, that's what happened here. So I'm good to test this now. The other thing I did was I changed out that one capacitor that went bad. You can tell where I put it because I realized that the pin was I wasn't going to be able to solder anything there because it was completely eaten up. So I soldered the capacitor to a neighboring pin here, and then the ground pin was unaffected, so I was still able to solder there. So this thing is going to be good to go. Let me fire up the telly here. Get the cables in. So let's see what is what. So this is video. Right. That's left, that's right. All right. So, in the freezing cold, let's pop the disc in. Come on. Oh, well. Good thing I'm trying this out now. Yeah, this. Okay, so it should be over here, I suppose. Yeah. All right. Yeah, that took its sweet time lowering down, but I think this one's fixed. Right on. I hear output from both channels. That's good. I mean, this is mono, but that at least tells me there's no broken solder joints anywhere. eventually I'm gonna have to put this TV on the bench because after it's warmed up a bit, the left speaker like goes out a bit. But I have not touched the TV because it's I'm kind of skinny fat. I don't really have the muscle I have is because of lifting all this heavy crap. So a bit of a deterrent to put the TV on the bench to find out why the left channel cuts out after a while. It might be just the cable. I don't know. That's neither here nor there. I see a good picture. That's the important thing. And sound. And yes, I will, of course, test this with a stereo disc. I'll let this go for a few minutes. It's playing. Now let's try so that's the reject. Fast forward. Of course, I aim the camera down when I'm testing this. Right. Yeah. Everything works as it should. Right on. That's going to reject okay. Sounds like it is, yeah. Just want to make sure that's really going to be okay. And I don't see any black goo on the caddy anywhere. I mean, this caddy's been obviously this has been through the ringer a bit, but I'm not seeing anything that screams like, oh damn, this thing needs still's got Velcro on it. I'll try with the cover on in a bit. One thing to keep in mind with these Hitachi players, particularly the early chassis, there's because how the arm knows when to land is. All right, let me show you what I'm talking about. And one thing to worry about on these Hitachi is that they have these early ones have so many sensors just to know when to land the arm. Here's the main one, because there's a little piece of metal on the end of the arm here, and there's a slot. There's like a hole in the slot, and what this detects is, when it first detects that hole, it knows that's when to land the stylus. But if, say, there's ambient light like there is here, that could mess with the sensors and all that. So that could be a pain on these, but I fortunately don't have to worry about that now because it landed on the disc A-OK. And the capacitor I replaced is working good too, so.
I'm going back to a trainer. I might never see you again.
And the turntable wasn't dirty, so I didn't brush that off. So, obviously I'm not going to just seal this thing back up. First I want to put the case back on. I think I can do that now. I just want, because it's perfectly dried now. So first let me pause it before because I don't want the disc to, the stylus to jump off the disc or any of that crap. So yeah, one thing that's cool is that you're not going to see that. One thing that's cool is that the side indicators on the Hitachis are green. That's different than the other Hitachi type chassis, like the Sears, just have red across the board. And then of course for the late stage Hitachis, like your PAL players, they just switch that back to red, which is a little boring. Well, I mean, anyone would care about that. Only, nerds like myself would care about that. And I'm going to have to open the case back up because I forgot to screw the board back in. I have the screws here. So yeah, let me. Nice and smooth. Let's see. Yeah, I got the. Right on. I got the. All the belt crap off there. Nothing on the caddy. Well, can't touch a stereo player without popping in a stereo disc. So. No. Jeez. Okay. Yeah, there's your green light here. And okay. Yeah. That's coming out. It's coming out good. And the picture on this disc much cleaner than my copy of Grease there. So, cool. Well, everyone, I'm going to let this thing ride out for a bit to make sure no issues pop up. But yeah, that replacement capacitor isn't doing any harm because if that were going to do something, well, it would have showed up by now, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, on these things, it's just really just cleaning up those two belts, and then again, how I do it, you can just do trial and error with like a generic belt kit, or Josh at CED definitely has replacement belts. They're like with the tried and true size for these. So those are your options with the belts. Again, it's just those two on these Hitachis, and generally once you replace those, that's all she wrote. You might run into problems with those sensors. The black piece that actually kind of rides, that's attached to the disc tray and rides, up and down. That's what guides it. That piece can snap off. I think I said this in the actual part that I captured it, but I have a realistic I still need to fix where that piece broke off. I'm guessing during shipping, because there wasn't any thing to block there wasn't anything inserted in the disc slot, so the tray, was able to move freely during shipping. And I know someone's trying a 3D printed replacement for that, so you can stay tuned for that. But that's all these really need. So. Only downside in the Hitachis, of course, is the stylus can only be found on parts units. Generally, you'll be lucky and they'll basically work, but it's always a gamble. Always a gamble. So I'm going to try this again. Going to keep this thing warmed up for a bit just to make sure no other issues pop up. But I think this thing's fixed and ready to be added to my arsenal of CED players. Hell yeah. So, thanks for watching. Hope this helped. Take care.